Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the WendellElAminJamesShow. Show. Tonight's guest, we have Mr. Leon Franklin, a longtime friend of mine. We're going to bring him on the show tonight to give a little insight on people coming home from prison and give a little history that society should know about people coming home from prison, what they did in prison, what they did to get out of prison, what they're doing now, and what their future goals are. So we want to welcome Mr. Franklin to the show tonight. Welcome to the show, Mr. Franklin.
Thank you, Mr. Elamin James. Thank you very much for having me.
Good to have you on the show. We want to ask you a few questions and give the community a little information of you and about you. Mm-hmm. What was your sentence and what was your judgment crime that you committed to go to prison?
Okay, well, in 1997, my charge was about 16 counts of second-degree robbery, and that was without a gun. Second degree without a gun. And my sentence was 23 years with 85%. Mm-hmm. 23 years with 85%, which roughly left to about like 17 years, 6 months, and 5 days after, I would have been getting out, in November.
Okay.
And that would have been, exactly 85%. But back in, 2015, 2014, the laws changed and prisons were overcrowded. Mm-hmm. And so that people would qualify, they instituted all type of new programs, right, to where you could possibly get out of prison early if some of the stuff that those different laws that they passed, if it applied to you.
So did you follow under Proposition 47?
No.
Okay, what did you follow up under?
Mine was, what was it? It was, I forget the name of the proposition.
Okay.
But I didn't even, was odd about it, right? All the times I prayed to wanting to get out of prison early, you know what I mean? And everything that came out, every proposition that came out, I didn't qualify for, you know what I mean? So I just gave up.
Right.
You know what I mean? So, but one day I got some mail, institutional mail, and it said that my time has been readjusted.
Okay.
So I was getting out 4 months early. Boy, was I surprised.
Where did you start your time?
I started my time in, I went from the San Bruno County Jail to 850 County Jail on the 7th floor, and then from there in '98, I went to San Quentin.
Was San Quentin the reception center there?
San Quentin was the reception center there.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Okay.
So,
and you left from San Quentin. They sent you from the reception center to where?
When I left from it was my birthday. I remember it so clear. It just seemed like, it's been a while anyway, but it was my birthday, July the 15th. 1998, I was on my way to High Desert, Susanville.
So you went to Susanville first?
I went to High Desert,
okay.
Susanville first.
You went to the pit first?
Yes.
Okay. And you left from Susanville when where?
I left from Susanville 2001, and I went to Tracy. And the reason why I was able to get out of Susanville, after the 3 years that I put there, been there, was that they came up with some more laws. You know what I mean? To where I didn't get any write-ups in the county jail. I'd been to camp and fire camp before, so that broke my points down from 78 to about 51. It made me a level 3.
Was that right? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So then I was able to go to Tracy and to depart from High Desert.
Okay. So you was on the main line of Tracy for how long?
I was on the main line in Tracy for to about from 2001 to October 2002, and at that time, unbeknownst to all of us, Tracy was no longer going to be a reception center. So they started to take us, all of us, call us down to the counselor's office first of all, and to get our where we was going to be going, and then right after that we was taking our property down to R&R, and so most of us we went to Old Folsom. You went to Old Folsom, and now now after you got there, they started giving them options, some other type of choices to go other places, but I didn't get an option.
You said that Tracy was no longer going to be a reception center, so they was making it the main line.
They was making it. They was making it. A main line. You know what I mean? For it was a matter of fact. Tracy. No, it wasn't. No, excuse me. Matter of fact, they was turning Tracy into a reception center, and it was no longer going to be a main line. It was only going to be like L3 and a few other things that other job things that they had there for inmates that they were going to keep there, and everybody else had to go.
All right, so L3 was for a licensed unit.
Yeah, it was
at
like
the time, and the main line they was going to run PIA.
Yeah,
to keep the prison running.
They kept the. They kept their best, the specialists of the inmates. Those are the ones that stayed. Everybody else that wasn't in a position to where it was needed to keep those positions going. Then they had to go, no matter whether you knew the captain, the warden, whatever.
Exactly.
You had to go.
Yeah. That's why I went when I in 2005. That's why I went to Tracy. I was a tailor, so I went right into PIA and became a sewer in PIA in 2005. That's why I paroled from 2015. But you went to Old Folsom.
Old Folsom.
Folsom.
Old Folsom is where they had this program. I think it was on Wednesday. It was dealing with anybody that was willing to listen or thought about something something positive to change their present course or their direction in life. That's they had this program that was in the Interfaith Chapel in the church. I think it used to be on Wednesdays, I believe, and I used to go there on occasion to the program and to see what they how it was ran, what was going on, what I could possibly use for the program, and it was positive, right? It was it was learning how to think, how to to get out of my comfort zone and find something that was gonna to be involved with things that were going to keep me grounded and free once I if I ever got out of prison.
That program it was in an Interfaith Chapel. Was it the Motivation Development Group?
Yes, Mr. James, it was your program that I became involved with, right? And it was, matter of fact, it was one of the few positive things that you could go to, for everybody, all races and everything, and actually get, somebody to listen to you and to get your your goals, your long-term and short-term goals, addressed, and what you was going to do after prison, and it would also give you some place to go to where you could be not involved in some of the unpleasant things that used to occur on the yard for most of the time. You know what I mean? So it was like a safe haven. You know what I mean?
Let me ask you, how long did you stay in Old Folsom?
Well, I stayed in Old Folsom to, I think it was 2002. End of 2002, it was like March. Was it March? No, it wasn't March. It was had still a couple of months to go. But I stayed in there to March of that next year because I spent that time in the hole because I got in a prison riot in the kitchen, the chow hall kitchen. I think it was in the 2 building.
So you was involved in a prison riot. That's something that you had no
No. I was eating breakfast one morning in the kitchen. You know what I mean? And I had my brand new clothes on. You know what I mean? My Levi's, and I was prison sharp. You know what I mean? So I was going to chow. You know what I mean? I wanted to show my new clothes off. You know what I mean? And I wanted to eat breakfast. That's all I wanted. You know what I mean? So, and I go to chow hall, and then the alarm goes off. I'm sitting at the table eating breakfast with a few fellow inmates, of various nationalities, and the alarm goes off in the 2 building on the 4th floor, I believe it was. It was an altercation in progress, between the Bloods and the Southsiders, right? So we down in the kitchen on the floor, and the man in the gun tower, in the kitchen, you know what I mean? So we down, and altercation ensued in the front, First the blacks came through in handcuffs from the 2 building, the 4th floor. The officers escorted them to the cages, on the yard. And then the Mexicans came through, the Southsiders, and they said something in Spanish to the Spanish inmates, and holy hell ensued after that. A riot broke out, from the front of the counter lines where you pick up your trays to about the middle of the kitchen, on one side of the kitchen, mind you, and not the other side of the chow hall. So, so this is new to me, because all the times I've been in prison and going to prison, I've never been in a riot before, right? So, but I noticed that the riot was against, our brown brothers, the Mexicans, against the blacks. So with the table that I was sitting at, I would have just been cool if I just remained, in that seating area, right? So, because wasn't nothing going on. It was in the front and in the back. So I decided that I wanted to get up from my safety zone and go and participate in the riot.
Oh, so you willingly got up and participated?
I willingly got up to go.
But that's all part of being in an environment like that. So that's not on your account. It's just being somewhere strange to you. So you participated in something that caused you a little shoe turn. Yeah.
It was mutual combat. It was mutual combat. So, but I stayed in I guess the hole was like a shoe. I stayed in there 103 days. Yeah. You know what I mean? Before being.
So you had to go to committee and get released back to mainline.
No, I never made it back to mainline.
Okay.
It was some kind of discrepancy to where they thought that me coming out on the mainline wouldn't help the morale of the people that was between the blacks and the Mexicans. It wouldn't be a good fit for that. So they thought it was time for me to put me on the bus. Right. So I begged and pleaded to not come back on the line. I was more than happy to leave because I didn't like Old Folsom in the first place. You know what I mean?
So where'd you go then?
So I went to Solano, CSP Solano.
3 yard, 4 yard?
3 yard. And there, stayed there in the gym for about a month. And then I moved in with one of the Muslim brothers.
You stayed in the gym. What were you, level 1? Level 2?
No, that's when people was living in the gym. At Solano, they had gyms on both yards, on the level 3 and the level 2. And the gym was occupied with hundreds of people in there, right? Okay. So I started off in the gym into a Muslim cell or a black cell opened up, and then I moved in with the Muslims.
So you went into the cubicles then?
No, I moved into the building. The gym was, in rows and.
Okay, but you was on 3 yard. So wasn't that the cubicle?
The level 3.
Yeah. Oh, you was on level 3.
Level 3.
So you was on. Okay. You was on. Okay.
Level
so
3
you went into a cell.
After that, what I mean. So I stayed. I went to the 11 building, stayed there for about 3 years. Then other riots began to ensue. Then I went to the 12 building. Then I moved to the 1 yard. Then I moved to the 7 building, and then by that time, my homeboy. And I was Willie White was my cellie, and he he was sick. He was dying of cancer, and I was, we all grew up together. You know what I mean. So, and we was close. We're family. So, he asked me to stay with him. You know what I mean. He didn't want to. He didn't trust anybody else. He didn't want to be with anybody else. He wanted me to stay with him.
Right.
And without saying, you know what I mean, I got me a 115 for
to stay on that yard.
Yeah, to stay on that yard and not go to the level 2.
Right.
You know what I mean? So I didn't have any regrets, but I was glad that I was able to be there for him, because I know that he would have did it for me.
Were you there when he passed?
Yes, me. Yes, he didn't pass that, Tracy. It was me, Kamungu, Brother C.C. Clarence Montgomery, Peter Ing, a few of us. We all, Willie had friends everywhere. Everywhere he went, they loved him. You know what I mean? They loved him. You know what I mean? Respected him. And some people, even feared him.
Right.
But most of all, for the most part, he was a decent human being.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? So he wasn't everything that people thought he was.
Right.
You know what I mean? Then. You know what I mean? But the man that he had become, which was important.
Right.
That goes for saying, for all of us. We're not what we used to be. It's who we are now that matters. You know what I mean? So we walked him out they gave him exactly 6 months to live. Cancer was all through his body. You know what I mean? We walked him out to the medical, and at that point they took him over to the hospice, and then contacted his family. His family was able to come and visit him before he passed, to be with him, and he died exactly 6 months after he'd been diagnosed. You know what I mean? So, and I received obituaries, love from his family, all of us, right? And we all cried.
Right.
You know what I mean? Because that day, we really, the world had really lost a real treasure that day. You know what I mean? Because he affected so many people's lives.
Now, in prison, people need to know in society, in the community, that in prison, during a long period of time, people become family in prison. We know people in prison better than we know people on the street.
Yeah.
Our own family.
Yeah.
So we become family in prison.
Yeah.
So you said you pull together and people cry when the brother passed, and that was normal for people doing a lot of time in prison. I think Willie had been in prison almost 29 years at the time that he passed. So he had been in prison for a while. He was in DVI just before I got there. But so we become family in prison. But in doing time, you just mentioned that we not the same people that we were when we came to prison. Either people change, or either they remain stupid all their life, right?
Absolutely.
So the majority of people change from who they were to who they are now.
Right.
Let me ask you, what made you change from the person you were when you went to prison to the person you are now?
The person that I was when I went to prison, all of which was nobody's fault but my own. No, the system wasn't broken, or I wasn't from a broken home, or I was abused or anything. I was I was using drugs, using heroin and everything else that came with it. In order to promote or to continue my drug habit, I had to steal. I had to rob, I had to steal, I had to take things that wasn't mine. And later on I had much regret for the people, who paid the consequences to keep me getting high. So I didn't like myself anymore. So I knew that I wasn't born for that purpose, to get high and to hurt people. I know it had to be a higher calling or a bigger purpose for me in life. So I began to, after getting that sentence, 23 years and 85%, I knew that at that time, when I got out, that it was going to be a lot of my family members and people I know would no longer be alive. That I could, wouldn't have the family, or if the friends to do, for any kind of assistance after I got out. because people had their own lives, or either the people that used to be there are gone now. So I knew that I must change. I must change my thinking. I must change the old behavior, and and everything, and all of the type of stinking thinking that I used to get in prison. Right. I needed a complete overhaul, a complete 360.
Right.
You know what I mean? So the helping me with that change, I had, I had Islam. I had my Muslim family in prison. You know what I mean? So, and we had lots of classes, and we had lots of times together that we fast for Ramadan, and that we were generally interested in the health and well-being of our fellow Muslim brothers, as well as the other people that we had contact with that were friends of ours that were non-Muslim. You know what I mean? So like we just, our friendships extend beyond any color barriers or somebody else's lines drawn in the sand.
Right.
You know what I mean? So, but I knew I had to change, and I wanted to change. That was the most important thing, because I knew that the years that I lost, the many years I lost with incarceration, that I could never get those back. I could never go backward, but I could go forward.
Right.
You know what I mean? So I knew that I wanted to do whatever it was that necessary to be a model prisoner, as well as a model citizen and a function member of society. You know what I mean? And to meet new friends, new people who didn't use, who didn't, had lived clean and sober lives, or, just living responsible lives. This is what I wanted. This is the kind of life I wanted. You know what I mean? At any cost. Just like I wanted all that other stuff at any cost, well, I was willing to pay whatever price, to have a normal life. You know what I mean? So, and that's why, when I finally was going to classes and, fasting and all these things to build mental strength and spiritual strength, you know what I mean, and to learn compassion and forgiveness, and to learn to forgive myself. You know what I mean?
During your incarceration, did you attend any self-help programs?
Yes, I was in a couple. I was in a couple besides yours. I was in a couple in Solano. I was in Emotions Anonymous. I was in anger management. Which they said I need a lot of that. You know what I mean? So, but I was in maybe about 3 self-help programs. But I think mainly I got most of the things I need, because we had a lot of groups as Muslims. We had a lot of classes. You know what I mean? So I attended a lot of those classes over the years. And, but I think about the most time that I really spent in the classes in prison was when I was in your class, Folsom, right? So it has to be to something that I can identify with. And, you guys' class for me, I didn't get that nowhere else, to where it addressed the needs, and concerns, my concerns, in my life after prison, the course, that I should take, or how to maintain that course, how to maintain a life, how to surround yourself with positive things.
Yeah. We always say that, everybody that goes into prison, everybody gonna come home someday. Either they're gonna come home upright, or they're gonna come home laying down with a tag on their toe. So I don't want anybody to come home and live next to my mother the same way they went in prison. Somebody clambed to somebody's window still in the VCR, microwave oven.
Right.
Yeah, so I worked hard, and to this day I still work, because I want people to come home different from they were when they went in. And like I say, everybody coming home. Right now we got a large population of lifers coming home. A large population of lifers coming home, because at one time the door was closed. They wouldn't let nobody come home. They said only way life is gonna come home is in the pine box,
Yeah.
and that went on for years.
Yes.
But right now they're letting lives come on at a record number, and this show is directed for long-time offenders coming home from prison because society have the right to know.
Yes.
And this is the show that society are giving the lifers in their rawest form on who they were before they went to prison. You know, what crime they did, what the sentence was, what they did in prison, to do the metamorphosis, as I say, to change to who they are today, and coming home to be able to give amends for the rest of their life and to show who they are and what their future goals are. You're not being a lifer, but you did a lot of time, right? So you live with the lifers. You know what the lifers thought, you know, and you did like life on the installment plan somewhat.
I had a life sentence in '72.
That's why I say you did life on the installment plan somewhat.
Yeah.
somewhat.
Yeah,
So you've been there
Yeah.
on the same side as the lifers that you seen them die in prison, you see them live in prison. You know the smell of the inside as well as the outside. So we give you the opportunity and stressing to society the short-time offenders to the long-time offenders, to the revolving door, to the lifer that had a life sentence and went back because he wasn't done yet. So now you're done.
Yes.
So what are you doing now?
What I'm doing now, I'm in this. First thing I did when I come out of prison, August the 6th, 2015, the very first day, I went to Walden House, Health Right 360. You know what I mean? So I went there because I didn't, I did so much time in prison. I wanted to be, responsible. I wanted some more tools, that they were giving away for free. All I had to do was participate, you know what I mean? So I needed, to know as much stuff as I need to stay out of prison, you know what I mean? So I went there, stayed there 4 months and 10 days. I went through classes there daily from night and day. And then after that, I went to Treasure Island. I stayed there for 2 months and 20 days, so it was pretty much outpatient, exiting the program. So I continuously try, to surround myself and, with people doing positive things. Even though that I don't know everything, and I'm always willing to listen to learn something new. Is definitely when it comes to staying out of prison or changing old behavior or attitudes. You know what I mean? So I got a lot out of the Walden House. You know what I mean? So, but after that was over, I had to leave. You had to leave there because there was no SLE, no SRO. And housing is a very important thing when you complete these programs of coming out of prison, work and housing. And I didn't have no housing, you know what I mean? So, I mean, there was a place that they offered that I could go to, but I declined, for my own personal reason, you know what I mean? But then, so now I wind up I'm in Nova in a transitional housing, and going to groups again. You know what I mean? Positive direction, thinking for a change. 2 groups of that, and going to groups at the community, the Bayview Community College. You know what I mean? So I'm continuing groups. I'm continuing to stay in groups for life, and to to study, to change my life and the way that I live for life, because it's always, as Mr. El-Amin always tells me, he said we're making a metamorphosis, you know what I mean? So, that's changed from one thing to a better thing, and to continue to make, large strides, throughout our evolution process, you know what I mean? So life is good today. I'm not, thinking with criminal behavior. You know what I mean? I'm on the SSI because, over the years of prison, you get kind of your bones and stuff, you know what I mean? You know what I mean? So I'm not the physical man I used to be, though, but I think I'm a better, mentally and emotionally, a better man than I've ever been. You know what I mean? So
you're no longer stinking thinking.
no longer
Stinking thinking is gone. Right?
It's gone.
Right. Well, I'm gonna say this to give it to your kudos. I've been knowing you a long time, and today you're an upright citizen in society of San Francisco, and society needs to know that you did your whatever you did in your past. You paid your debt to society. You went in there, you did the metamorphosis, the change, the complete change, and you're still working on yourself. You know, this is a work in progress. Our work is never done, it's never over. You know, so we got a work in progress that we're going to be doing for the rest of our life, and society need to know that we're back. We're back, and we ain't going nowhere. We are law-abiding citizens. We're here, and I'm gonna be your neighbor. Okay, because I'm gonna get that house next to you.
Yes.
Right. So we're gonna be here, and you might see us walking on the streets. We're not here to hurt nobody. We're here to bring joy to you, to bring a smile to you, do anything that we can do to help you. The little old lady we want to cross the street, we don't want to help you cross the street. That's what we are. We're back. We did whatever time we did in prison, whatever crime we did in prison, we're back, and we ain't going nowhere. And that's how it's going to be.
Right.
So, Mr. Leon, frankly, it's a pleasure knowing you. Been knowing you a while, and life is good. We got another blessed day above ground. We got one more day to get it right.
That's right.
We got to get something right every day.
That's right.
One day at a time, straight ahead tunnel vision.
You mean El-Amin? So El-Amin. So is that why I call you every day, just so I can be, motivated and inspired by you, brother El-Amin?
Well, we call it check-ins.
Yes, that's right.
We get check-ins, you know, and you not just the only person. A lot of people call every day. We call each other and give check-ins because if we don't give check-ins, we know something wrong.
Well, could you tell the listeners, brother El-Amin, what would happen to me if I didn't check in?
Well. You didn't get check in, you get blessed out. You get that. You definitely get that at the end of the day. Yeah. So we have to continue checking in with each other to make sure that we like the rope. You know, in Islam we say the rope of Allah. You know, we hold on to the rope and we go to the bottom. Don't never let go. Right? You can always go back into the top. Hold on to the rope and don't never let go. Okay, and that way we don't fall off the face of the earth. If we fall off the face of the earth, they're gonna put dirt on top of it. We dead, you know, and we're gonna exist. We got things we got to do. We got the future. We got a generation of youngsters coming up, and we got to be a pillow to the youngsters coming up. You know, we got youngsters watching the show, you know, and they watch it every week. They watch it. They don't see it on Saturday. They see it on Monday, and they watch it everywhere. I got a family of relatives and nieces and nephews watch it every week, and they say, "Unc, this is something that need to be shown." And we're doing work. You know, we're trying to help our generation coming up because they are our future, and we got to take out the salt that they've been given all their life. So they've been lied to, and we're here to tell them the truth. We ain't giving no sugar coat. We ain't trying to give them no sugar. We're gonna give them raw facts, what it is. We don't want you to fall into the same pit hole that we fell into, right? We want to stop that before it happened, and that's what we're here for, to give society, the community, and the younger generation something to look forward to. So, Mr. Leon, we want to thank you for coming on the show this evening, and we wish you the very best. We're going to bring you back.
Okay.
We're going to bring you back in some months because people need to know what you're doing in the next 6 months.
Okay.
So thank you for coming on the show, Mr. Franklin, and we want to thank you, and we want to see you in maybe about 6 months, Mr. Leon.
The pleasure was all mine.
Right on.
You know what I'm saying? And anything that I could be of help to assist and to being truthful and telling that prison is no resort. You know what I mean? That being with your family, even though the people in prison become like your family, stay with your family, stay out of prison.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? There's no place to be somebody.
That's right.
You know
Exactly.
what I mean?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So thank you, and we appreciate you looking in tonight. Tonight at 7:00, next week at 7:00. If you don't get it on 7:00 on Saturday night, you can look at it again on Monday at 1:00 in the afternoon. So if you didn't get something out of that Saturday night, look at it Monday, and I guarantee you'll get something out of it. So thank you for coming on to the show tonight, and we wish you a lovely weekend.
And what channel was that?
That's 2976.
Okay.
2976. Thank you. Have a good evening.